Maruti Suzuki's People Technology presents Suzuki Connect with Navigate to Car and many other features.
Watch more, feel more. Dell.
Wow. Pakistan, 176 after losing the toss, the all-important toss in Dubai. That is by some distance the highest score batting first at this stadium. 11 fours, 8 sixes. That's as many as have hitting total batting first at Dubai going into this. Is it enough though? We'll find out, because you could start howling and singing and parting like my little ones here if you're a Pakistan fan right now. But are you nervous if you're Tom Moody and an Australian supporter? Mahela Jayawardene is here, so too Ajit Agarkar. I can't even blame Ajit's dogs now. It's all mine because they loved what they saw. So on Maruti Suzuki presents ESPN Cricket for T20 Timeout powered by Dell. Tom Moody, tell me what we've just witnessed. That was some hitting.
Oh, extraordinary. It really was a brilliant finish by Pakistan. Put them into a position where I think they're above par score-wise. But in saying that, the surface actually played a lot better than I thought it would do. The Australians had little movement off the seam or in the air. Looked like a pretty consistent pace and bounce in the surface. So it is a very good score, but it's also it certainly looks like a good batting surface.
Ajit, thoughts?
Sorry, me?
Yes, Ajit, please just sum up that innings, because bowling's going to be so much easier.
Incredible.
Yeah.
I think we had this discussion about Fakhar Zaman, whether he's one of the weak links, and that's why when you're winning, you can persist with a guy like that because he can change the game on its head. A bit sloppy from Australia in the field, but he's certainly given Pakistan a score, and with their bowling, they'll fancy defending. But I'm with Tom on this one. I think it's a really, really good pitch. I think it's one of the better cricket wickets that we've seen in this competition. And if Australia bat well, we are going to have one hell of a game in spite of Pakistan's attack. But Pakistan's certainly the favourites at this point.
Mahela, you echo that? This is the best batting surface we've seen at Dubai all tournament?
Yeah, it looked good, definitely. But to be honest, the execution a little bit at the back end. There's a drop catch, which is very crucial. That's a costly one as well. And at the end, maybe into the wicket stuff, the slow balls, they didn't use as much because they were actually quite effective in that middle period, and they went away from that. So if Pakistan is going to use that option, because we know Pakistan tend to use all those variations, it might not be that easy, but it seems to be a decent wicket. It definitely probably 15 runs above par score, but chasing in a World Cup is always semi-final is always going to be a tough one.
Now, when you saw that Australian bowling effort collectively, Ajit, we're seeing waist-high full tosses and no balls and free hits and drop catches. Is that due? Is that the pressure of a semi-final? Is it that Pakistan's approach suddenly took Australia by shock? What did you make of it?
I think everything is the one thing we'll have to wait and see if that was the cause, because that can easily happen. Because a lot of the times it's not just the slippery ball, but it's also where your feet land, and you can't sometimes grip the crease, so you have no control on what happens at the other end. We'll have to wait and see. We'll probably find out when Pakistan comes out to bowl. If we see enough towels around, we'll know there is a little bit of dew. But it's the way Pakistan batted. They put Australia under pressure. Australia didn't get the early wicket or wickets that they wanted, and they were under serious pressure. Their bowling, which has been their strength throughout the course of this tournament, was under pressure, and sometimes we saw it last night as well. I mean, Jordan, as good as he has been for England, or one of their go-to bowlers, couldn't quite execute, and nor did Australia. And but for some sort of sloppiness in the field, Australia might have had a few less runs to chase. But it's Pakistan's batting that put the pressure, and even Stark at times, as good as he was, couldn't quite execute, which is never easy. So about the dew, if dew is a factor, then that still plays in Australia's hands. But we'll have to wait and see.
Yep. You think this is still significantly above par, Tom? And what kind of bowling is it going to take then? If this is as good a surface, and if Australia struggled, how do you bowl on this surface?
Yeah, look, a lot will depend on the dew. How do you bowl on the surface? Well, I think initially you look to try to take wickets in the power play. I think they need to be aggressive. Pakistan in the power play overs look to take wickets. Don't worry so much about the scoreboard. Be aggressive with that new ball, which they have been, to be fair, led by Afridi. Then just, again, depending on the condition of the ball, making sure that you're using the various variety that you have in your bowling armoury. Pakistan have got a lot of variety in their bowling, but also using that slower ball into the surface more, as Mahela said, I think is important, because it did sort of appear to have a little bit of a tennis ball-y bounce to it when it was executed well. And tonight's a good example of you slightly get your Yorker off, and Mitchell Stark is one of the better Yorker bowlers around. If you slightly get it off and you've got someone that's set at the crease, it doesn't matter. It's going out the ground, and that's where you can't just be a one-trick pony and look just to try to get it up into the block hole. You've got to try to change your angles, change your length, use that slow ball effectively.
All right, we're going to spend more time, you think, on Fakhar Zaman at the end of this, especially if Pakistan end up on the right result. Australia's openers are out there. Mahela, we discussed Steve Smith's new role as to what's been told to him now. With 170 plus to get, what happens if we start calling all the power hitters up now? Smash comes up, Stoinis comes up, and Smith goes down. How do you see this?
Not really. I think he still has a role to play. I don't think that you can just, go and, get this in 10, 15 overs. You still have to bat 20 overs. You need someone to be and make sure that you strike at 120 and control things, because then the power hitters can bat around that. So I reckon Steve Smith will still have a role to play. Whether it's at number 3, 4, we'll have to wait and see, depending on the start that Australia gets. But definitely, you need someone to glue those power hitters together. So that's his role.
You're stating the obvious, you think, Ajit, but you just feel like David Warner's wicket is key, isn't it?
I mean, it is important, but there are other hitters, particularly because it's a good pitch. We saw Pakistan, in spite of, they got a decent start, not an electric start, but they put the runs on the board. So a start is important. Australia would ideally love a start from these two. Warner is the way he batted against West Indies, could win the game on his own, but I don't think it's just Warner's wicket tonight anymore with the score that Pakistan have put.
All right, time for that creative prediction. I'll let Tom go last for a change. Let him hear what you two have to say. Ajit Agarkar, how is this game going to finish?
Oh, wow. I still fancy Australia is going to chase this down. So I picked England last night. So well done, Pakistan.
Yeah, Mahela, give me your prediction.
Well, I said beginning as well of I think this time, like Tom says, the cigar is going to be with Pakistan, probably without the wine.
Tom.
Look, I'd rather be in Pakistan's shoes. I must admit that they've got a good score on the board, but if Dew does play a role, generally Dew, you can sort of give yourself 15, maybe even 20 runs sometimes as an advantage batting second if you've got Dew on your side.
All right, we leave it there. Pakistan in pole position, they're favourites. They've never beaten Australia in an ICC knockout game. Who cares? They've never beaten India at an ICC event this World Cup. This team doesn't care about past laurels. Let's see if they can book a place in the final against New Zealand. Join us at the end of it all on Maruti Suzuki Presents ESPN Cricket for T20 Timeout, powered by Dell, as we leave you some stunning visuals from the host cities, again, powered by Dell.
Maruti Suzuki's People Technology presents Suzuki Connect with Navigate to Car and many other features.
Watch more, feel more, Dell.